Hello and welcome to my channel, The IVF Counsellor. My name is Gemma and I am truly passionate about supporting women to manage the emotional toll that IVF brings. I know this because I have lived experience of IVF, so what I bring is a unique blend of lived experience and expertise as a counsellor. This week I wanted to talk to you about the role of core beliefs and how those show up in IVF treatment. But before we jump into that, what is a core belief? A core belief is a deeply held belief that we have about ourselves, about others, and about the world. So I want to take the core belief around not being good enough. This shows up in the counselling room all the time. It's formed when a child swallows messages about their self-worth. So children are little sponges. They take on the messages around them. And if they were surrounded by parents, teachers, or other significant adults that criticised them, that made them feel like they'd never quite lived up to expectation, made them feel like they didn't do the right things, then that for the child gives them a sense that they are not good enough. They take that as a child and that goes all throughout their adult life unless they do something about it. Imagine it like an invisible pair of glasses that you put on, and these invisible pair of glasses have a filter on them where you look for evidence that you're not good enough. So this belief that was nurtured in childhood, you almost make a lifetime of finding evidence to fit that you're not good enough. And this may well be that despite all of this, you did well at school, you have a good support network, a good group of friends, you found a lovely partner who is supportive and loving, you have a good job, you have good financial security. It can sometimes feel that despite all of this, you never quite feel that it's good enough. And this can lead to perfectionism when we constantly strive to achieve more than we have because it never feels that it's enough for us. So imagine you are going through the world looking for evidence to support this core belief that you're not good enough. And by the way, this is an unconscious process. I'm not saying that you think that you're doing this. And then let's just say you start to experience troubles getting pregnant. And every month that goes past, your period arrives, or you take a pregnancy test and it says not pregnant. And every month that gives you new evidence that you're not good enough. And you look around at your peers and you see that they've either already got children or they're getting pregnant. Or it's like anything, the more attuned you become to something, the more you see it. You go out for a walk and all of a sudden you just see pregnant women. You watch something on the TV and you see pregnant women on TV. And all of these just become reminders that something is wrong with you. Why aren't you getting pregnant? Why are you not good enough? Why is your body not good enough to just do what it's supposed to do? And maybe you catch yourself thinking, well, of course I wasn't going to be able to get pregnant naturally. Of course I was always going to have problems because things never work out for me. So you see how this core belief around not being good enough becomes reinforced through struggling to conceive, and then it becomes more evidence to add to this bag that you've been carrying throughout your life that's full of evidence that you're not good enough. I don't know if you're aware of Brené Brown, but I absolutely adore her. And she says a quote about stop going through the world looking for evidence that you're not good enough, because you'll find it. And she says that, you know, when you're in this mindset, you make it your mission to find the evidence that you're not good enough. So what can you do about this? Well, the first step is be curious about it. Be curious about what your inner beliefs are about yourself if you are embarking on IVF. A really good way of doing this, and I do this with clients, is I ask them to answer 3 questions. I am, people are, the world is. Try to answer those questions without too much thought, because those can be really revealing and they can give you clues as to what is underneath. So if you're saying stuff like others are better than me, then using my example of not feeling good enough, that would indicate, wouldn't it, that there's a not good enough kind of strand going through. So start to be curious. What do you believe about yourself? And be honest. Do you feel that the struggles that you're now experiencing are in some way reinforcing this belief? And if you are able to identify the belief, think about, well, how did I ever believe that about myself, and how true is it? So if you had a teacher at school that, you know, that made you feel that you never got the top grades, that you were never going to be good enough, that you were never going to amount to anything, and this happens, think to yourself, do you feel that they are a credible source to measure yourself against? Are they the type of person that you really want to give any real importance to in your life? And maybe it's time that you let that person go, and the words that they said, you know, words stay with you, don't they? But we have a choice as to whether we choose to keep those words or not. And perhaps it's time to have a little bit of an audit of some of these messages that you've been carrying for years and years. As a child, you didn't have a choice, did you? You had to be in school and you had to listen to what was being said. But as an adult, you can choose something different. And then I guess the next step, after being curious and identifying some of these beliefs, can you start to challenge them? That's what I've just been talking about. Can you start to think, well, actually, do I really value that person and what they said to me? In my life right now, have I got evidence to challenge that I'm not good enough? And yeah, you will probably look around and see so many good things in your life. In fact, a really nice exercise can be to message 3 very close friends and ask them to tell you what they think about you. We often don't get feedback, do we? And you'll be really surprised to see the words that will be coming back at you, and I guarantee you none of what they say will be saying that you're not good enough. And the third thing I would urge you to think about is whether you can rewrite this story. Going through IVF is one of the toughest things you'll ever go through. I know without a doubt that I look back and I think, what a resilient and strong person I was. And I know that you are resilient and strong too. Is that not enough evidence to show you that actually whatever limiting belief you have about yourself might be wrong? Because you are showing just how you are turning up to a process that has no assurances, and you're doing your best to take control. And that is admirable in itself, isn't it? So maybe this is a time to rewrite your story, to let go of these things that are holding you back. Thoughts about your body failing, that's nothing that you did wrong. That's got nothing to do with it. We can't help the bodies that we're born with, and the fact that there may be something within our reproductive system that isn't working correctly, that doesn't mean that you're broken. That just means on a physiological level there's an issue. And you know what? IVF is an amazing thing that can help to problem solve and see beyond that issue. So please do not take that as evidence. I would really urge you to have a good think about this. Please hear me when I say you can rewrite your story. So yes, our core beliefs can easily find themselves into the IVF process, but be curious, surround yourself with the people who love you, and have a go at challenging some of these things and doing, as I say, a little audit. What do you want to keep and what do you get rid of? This could be the opportunity that you need to break free from some of these unhelpful beliefs about yourself.